Hi beautiful friends, welcome to today's video. I'm going to be talking about this really powerful tool that we have that can be used for the greatest good and also used as a very deadly weapon. When I am with my friends and sharing the longer, more in-depth, sort of like cozy on the couch type of story about my relationship and what has worked, surprisingly, one of the things that I talk about is the ability to take space and to exercise silence. It's so fascinating because it can be a relationship's curse. It can be the end of it if you go too deeply into silence. Right? Because what does that look like? When we go too deeply and unconsciously into not communicating, it creates contempt and tension and things start compacting, and it's the worst. It's the worst when there's that silence but a huge energy in the room. That is awful. Okay, so we know that kind of silence. Yeah, we all have experienced that kind of silence. So there's another type of silence that can exist very very healthy and like in a very conscious way. And I use this with my kids too. When sometimes, and it has not happened very often, but you know, in the years that I've been a mother, there have just been like a handful of times where I had to be silent. Otherwise, I was going to say something destructive, completely destructive. And so I had to practice this kind of silence. It's not the kind of silence where you let the little things go for so long, right? But really you're keeping like this huge mental list in your mind of all those things that you know, are probably going to come up at some point when, you know, when there's a burst, right? When there's a burst in your ability to keep all of that in. For those who are adept at seeing the purpose of relationship, right? Which I just talked about in the last video, right? These perfectly angled mirrors that are really helping us see our highest potential. Yeah? Okay. So when we are conscious that we are in relationships like that and we are committed to relationships like that, silence is a tool there to assist and allow for the appropriate amount of linear time to pass until it is time to then re-engage from a different angle. Okay, so it's like, here's the issue at hand, right? I'm not trusting you in the same way that I used to. I'm upset with the way things are going, you know, with whatever it is here that you're upset about. Okay, it's here, and we're upset about it, and we're feeling, you know, from this angle, it's like, I'm really frustrated about this. I'm really angry about this. I'm really, you know, like all of these super high charged, a lot of energy into this, right? Okay. But if we can come back, right, examine this from a lot of different areas and take self-responsibility and the creatorship of whatever this is, then that takes silence. That requires silence to do that, okay? But then we can explore it, and then we can come back and have the conversation from over here, right? From what we saw over here in a gentle way. In the same way that you would talk to a child that you truly love and respect. Not like talking down to a child like a lot of people do, but truly like engaging with a young person who you want to really listen to you. Okay, we can use that approach in our relationships, but what I have found to be crucial is to allow the conscious silence to play a part, to take the space, and then come back, and then take space, and then come back. And this is this, you know, time together, time apart, time together, time apart, and like talking deeply, and then enjoying time where you're not keeping each other informed about every little detail of life, right? I want to circle this back around to if you are in that position where there is so much silent tension, I want to give you an analogy that's going to help you right now, okay? So that silent tension, it literally, what I'm seeing, it's like a bow and arrow that's pulled, right? It is pulled. Now the arrow is not bad, okay? The arrow is just the truth. It's just all that compacting has turned itself into an arrow, right? And you are just, you're ready to like shoot that thing at times. Okay. If you use that arrow appropriately, what that can do is that it can pierce through to the next very big breakthrough in your relationship. Okay? So you can take that arrow and you can shoot it right at your partner's face and see how that goes. Or we could like take that arrow and shoot it to the moon, and both partners can watch it soar away from the home. And to be able to do that, though, you have to be able to shift into a place of a lot of patience with this kind of communication, and not everything is going to be resolved. Sometimes it will be. Sometimes you're not going to resolve the whole thing in one evening. So it's really important to have some perspective of like, okay, what was the good that came from this conversation? What am I able to see? What is my partner able to see? That's enough for tonight. We'll have more silence. We'll sleep in separate rooms. Okay, we'll get back at this again tomorrow. That is very healthy in my experience. To be able to take, and not make it this taboo thing, to like know that space and that silence is can be appropriate, and we don't have to be punishing to ourselves for taking those actions and taking what we need. We don't have to punish anybody for taking what we need. Okay? That's part of stepping up into being sovereign, is that, if your partner is flexing into their sovereignty and being like, this is what I need, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go to the mountains for 2 days, we can't be like, why? It's just like, okay, you take what you need. You take what you need. There's so much wise woman medicine in that phrase. I will never forget. My beautiful friend Jocelyn said that to me in a time where I was not taking what I needed, and she was just like, you just take what you need. And when she said that to me, I was like, that is the perfect thing to say right now. Thank you so much. That was the most perfect thing that I could have heard. Just take what you need in that moment. And silence, there's no taboo. Okay, we don't have to have a taboo about taking space or silence. Sometimes I've taken really big space, very consciously, and it helps, right? And now what, here's an idea to play with. It's like every other week there's a dedicated date night, right? So all those things that you want to be seen in, and that you want that connection, you want that time together, by creating space, right? Which is what the priestess does. She creates space. Calendars and systems and rituals and routines are all, the throne that she sits in to do that. And what I love about my life right now is that there are so many containers of space set aside for me to deepen into my relationship, to deepen into being here with you, you know, deepen into being with my kids. It's all set up and structured for me. That's why I'm like constantly talking about that, and it's why it's such a huge part of the Conscious Motherhood Masterclass, is because then you can organize these needs that you have that are really important, such as silence. There should be time in your calendar for that, you know, or weekends in nature. When we have that, to know that we know it's coming, it really changes this now moment. It really helps the aspect of us that's freaking out that there's not enough time or there's not enough resources. It's like, no, I've got you. That's coming up. I've got you. It's taken care of. So I hope that this has been a helpful video with some tools that you can start to apply with your family, and give you this beautiful tool of silence as a positive thing, as a tool to be resourced consciously, and as something, you know, not to be avoidant, but to be strategic with your time and with your energy. Okay. And then, you know, have it, and then following up with the things, you know, that you don't avoid anything, but also like really listen to yourself when you need silence. I love you so much. I've got resources for you in the description box of this video, and I will see you in the next video.